Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by Hiscox. Go to hiscoxusa.com/smallbiz for your business insurance needs. And by GoToMeeting. Sign up for GoToMeeting today by using promo code START to begin your free trial.
Today on the program, Jake Winebaum, the CEO of StartupBrighter.com, is with us. I've been waiting to have this guest for a year, basically two since the start of the program. Hey, and we're going to look at a new feature, Chart of the Day. We're going to look at the chart that has Google running absolutely scared, crying in their coffee. And we're going to guess the real startup. Perhaps Tyler will drop some insights. And we're going to have a great show. Stick with us.
What it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hey everybody, it's another episode of This Week in Startups. We're going to have an amazing program. Serial entrepreneur Jake Winebaum is here. He is an awesome entrepreneur. I've known him for a decade, and he has done some awesome stuff. And we're going to hear all about his new startup, Brighter.com. A couple of things going on that I need to make you aware of. Number one, go to thisweekend.com/email and sign up for the email broadcast list. This will tell you who's going to be on the next episode, where I'm speaking, who was on the last episode, just all kinds of interesting stuff about what's going on with the show. And if you want to become a producer of the show, join the back channel. Now, this is the discussion group. You can have a broadcast list, you can have a discussion group. TWiST is a discussion group. Go to twistlist.co and you can sign up and talk about the show. For example, this Friday, we're having a show on the health graph with Runkeeper and the CEO of Zio, I think. All these great ideas come from the audience on the twistlist.co discussion group. Every day, 25, 30, 40 emails of just founders and entrepreneurs talking about running companies and what we should do on the next episode. As you know, this show is a front for me to get educated and be less stupid. I mean, I basically have learned more from doing this show for 2 years than, almost I did in being a CEO for the last 2 years. And that's all from talking to great guests. And how you doing, Tyler?
I have a crazy stiff neck. I woke up.
You got a stiff neck? And you got, what do you got, a brace on your arm? You're falling apart on me, kid. What's going on over
I'm in the best health of my life, but it just so happens that my wrist
you got veganism going on, you're doing the juicing, you're doing the sprinting, you're doing everything.
I got the gym, I got it all.
You got it all, but you're falling apart.
I woke up this morning and my neck is out of whack and now my wrist is funky. It's weird.
As we say at the
maybe I'm training too hard. I've been doing the boxing stuff too. So
have you?
I mean, I think maybe
that's it.
Threw out my shoulder.
As we say in the poker world, tar. That's about right. No, you do everything right. You start getting healthy, and then your body starts breaking down because you're pushing it too far.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I have to push you guys to do is to go use GoToMeeting. GoToMeeting. Hold unlimited meetings for one flat fee. I use GoToMeeting. As you guys know, you can't advertise in the program. The show is sold out in terms of advertising for months in advance, unless you're on the white list of products that Tyler, myself, Lon, and the crew endorse and use. Because what's the point of me reading a commercial for something I don't believe in? It just sort of doesn't work, right? So we're sort of going back to the 50s or 60s when people would read the commercials, except we have a white list. And the hosts on the This Week in Network will only read ads for products they believe in. Why? Because I can't get them to read ads for products they don't believe in, and the advertisers don't want them to.
And you'd lose faith in the show if you started promoting.
Like if I started promoting something I don't like using, if it was some phone I would never use or a tablet or whatever. Anyway, GoToMeeting. What a great product. I use it. Their HD Faces software is beautiful, crystal clear HD for your meetings, and we use it actually to have people dial into the program. Hey, sign up for GoToMeeting and use the promo code START, as in This Week in Startups, and you will then, if you forward that receipt to contests@thisweekend.com, I'll put you into a drawing for Tyler's 13-inch brand new MacBook Air and a Logitech HD camera that you can use to enjoy HD Faces.
And let's give them the option. They can have my old one and I can have the new one.
Either way. Okay, either way, Tyler. Anyway, go sign up at GoToMeeting and thank them on your Twitter account. Use the promo code START. Email your receipt to contest@thisweekin.com. On the program today, Jake Winebaum is a serial entrepreneur, and with Matt Coffin, he co-founded an incubator and investment firm called Blue Water Research in January of 2010. And what came out of it, Brighter.com, a very cool new startup. his background: Lower My Bills, sold to Experian, Jam.mobile. I think that went public and then got sold to Electronic Arts. Boingo Wireless just went public. Business.com, which got sold right at the peak, I guess, of SEO, and got out at the right time with that. And you've been just a serial entrepreneur for, I guess, the better part of 2 decades.
I have, yeah.
Welcome to the program,
thank
first
you.
of all. 20 years of running companies, is that about right?
Actually, I started Same Day Fish Company when I was in college. So I actually started, and I will date myself by telling you how long that was, but...
The 80s.
Yeah, the early 80s, actually.
The early 80s, really?
Yeah.
So you graduated college in the...
82.
82.
Yep.
And you start your own company.
Yes.
And it's the what?
It was called Same Day Fish Company. I worked on commercial fishing boats, and we processed the fish from the local fishermen's cooperative and sold it to restaurants and supermarkets.
Same Day Fish.
24 hours from the time it was caught.
I'm taking it was a mobile social startup.
It was
a tablet-based startup?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
it was a little more physical.
And why did you start that business of all businesses?
I can't help myself. You know, I see a situation there. The fish was getting transported to Boston, sold at auction, and then transported back up north. So we decided, why skip all those steps? And
so it was going to the fish market, and you disintermediated the fish market.
An early disintermediation, yes.
Now, fish markets, at least the one in New York, the Fulton Fish Market, they tend to be run and operated by people who don't like to be disintermediated.
Yes, as a naive college student, I learned that later, actually, when I had to go to the Boston Fish Market to buy some fish because I was short for my orders.
Oh, and so you went down and you asked the boys, hey, I'm short.
Yes.
And they said, oh,
yes.
Jake, we've been waiting for you.
Who've been taking some of our business away from us.
You did start taking their business.
Yes.
And
yes.
Any ramifications there? Any good stories?
No, I got out of the business, went back to college, finished up.
I see. And then you started a magazine, I think, later on after that, right?
I did. I started Family Fun magazine, which I sold to Disney in 1994.
Started a magazine in 94. And in 94, starting a magazine, like a zine, or a niche publication. I mean, that was sort of what startups were in the early 90s, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of small magazines, niche magazines, that was like a really good business vertical.
It was, and the transition to the internet was I started Family PC after Family Fun, got exposed a bit, and that was in the days of CDs and some of the early entertainment software.
Yeah, talk about that. What was that moment like? I guess it was Blender, and there were a couple of other CD-ROM magazines.
Learning Company,
yes.
Broderbund, companies that are no longer with us, yes.
Yeah, and they were creating what?
Mainly games that were on CDs for the early when computers first started going to the homes, and they sold really well. Those companies exploded pretty quickly, and then the internet came along and pretty much took that business away.
Right. They were delivering actually movies, audio, and text on CD-ROMs.
CD-ROMs, exactly.
So you go to a store and you pay $50 for a CD-ROM, $30 for a CD-ROM, bring it home and load up recipes.
And initially there was very little software available for consumers on the PC, so they sold really well, the companies that had good software.
Yeah, people forget that. Like, basically, using a computer in the early 90s was essentially like unplugging your Ethernet connection or turning off your Wi-Fi and using your computer today.
Exactly.
Which means there's nothing to do.
Exactly.
Comparatively speaking.
You use your calculator.
Yeah. So you sell that magazine to Disney. That's kind of a big deal.
It was. And
life-changing?
There was an earn-out. So
not as life-changing?
It became life-changing because we actually did really well. Our trick to our success at Disney is we got a card inside the Lion King video release, which sold 40 million copies worldwide. And we were able to generate 400,000 subscriptions through that. So that's
1% return rate.
That's what actually made the
earn-out go crazy. So you beat the earn-out and had a little icing on top.
Yes.
So you're getting the earn-out was tied in some way to subscriptions or something like that. And so you're at Disney in 90 what?
That was in 95, late 94, and then I
and Eisner's running it then.
Eisner was running it.
What was he like?
He was great. He was my boss for 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, because then I started the internet group there in late 94.
What was that called? Disney Internet Group? DIG?
Initially, DIG. Exactly, yeah.
Right.
And initially it was just the Disney properties, but in 96 Disney acquired Cap Cities, which included ESPN and ABC and all of that.
And then you got something to work with.
Then we had a lot to work with, yeah.
And did you guys launch Go.com? Was that?
We did.
Now, Go.com was supposed to be a portal, because in those days you needed to have a portal. So you guys were targeting...
We acquired InfoSeek, actually.
InfoSeek, the search engine.
The search engine. And at the time, search was a business that was a big money-losing business. No one could figure out how to make money on it. So it was bought for the traffic. Yeah. And this was right around Go-To Overture had just started. But there wasn't really a business model. It was a cost center. And everyone felt that search engines were really a portal to things like news, sports, entertainment. And that's why Disney was attracted to InfoSeek.
Disney had the foresight to see search as an important business and buy a search engine, buy a killer domain name Go, and build a portal, or no?
It was defensive.
It was defensive.
They felt that ESPN, which was already making great strides on the internet, ABC News, those would be made generic by the search engines, meaning that a brand for news, if people were starting on a search engine, they would control what news those people would consume.
It was more the portal mentality than the search mentality.
Exactly. And that was the mistake they made, is that they didn't invest in search. They basically stopped the investment in search, focused on branding sports, branding entertainment, branding news with their brands. And that was right about the time that GoTo figured the business model out for search that Google copied. And then, it was off to the races, but by then it was too late. InfoSeek was on a decline at that point.
So it's not enough to be right. You also have to have the execution piece, I guess, is the lesson.
Exactly, yeah.
And Go.com, the portal, is that still going on, or they sort of
They still use it. No, I don't think they use it as a portal, but you still see the Go domain, ESPN.go.com. That's how they aggregate all their traffic.
A lot of the younger guys won't remember, but that was one of the biggest launches at the
They
time.
put Star Media? No, what was the...
Starwave.
Starwave was the company that produced 4 online magazines.
Right. Initially, the interesting story is that Starwave was a joint venture partner of ESPN before Disney acquired it, and they did early Prodigy, all the early stuff online for them. But then they actually did the first internet site for ESPN.
What were the names of their properties, though? They had
Zone. It was things like
Sports Zone.
They did a thing with Outside Magazine. They did something with Kramer, actually in personal finance called Money Zone, I think. And they were really advanced. They actually created the first clickable banner right at the exact same day that Wired did.
The Zima ad was on Wired. Starwave did something else. And in those early days, people thought you needed to make a new brand online because putting an old world brand online would lead to confusion. Was that the thinking at the time? And Eisner was like, we can't put Disney online or we can't put ESPN online. We got to start a new brand.
Well, they didn't have something generic in general that could encompass sports, entertainment, news. They really made a great play with ESPN. ESPN was really served sports fans' needs, so that took off and is still a leader in sports. But in things more generic, they really didn't have a good brand for that, so that's what they needed to go for.
So they never really became a major player online. They became...
Well, at one point, they fourth leading. Go as an aggregate was the fourth largest. When I left in '99, it was the fourth largest traffic aggregated
people forget what a player Disney was at pre-Google, let's say.
Yes.
Pre-Google's ascension, but they never really got there in terms of being a technology-based company,
but not for lack of trying. I think Disney as a company has probably been the most consistent. I mean, we were on the internet in late '94.
I remember,
and they made good investments. But there's a lot of defensive moves these big media companies have to make that handicap them when they're competing against a Google, YouTube kind of play.
The DNA was content, though, really, wasn't it? At the end of the day.
And ironically, it seems like a lot of the technology companies now are coming back to the content companies saying, hey, we need you. It's got to feel pretty good for them to be needed again.
Once you get away from text and you get into video, or you get into movies, I mean, certainly they have the assets.
Hey, so tell us about the new company. Brighter is something you guys incubated. I don't understand exactly what it is. So you tell me, what is this? Why should we care?
Why you should care. Brighter makes dental care more affordable and accessible for 50% of Americans who don't have dental insurance. So nearly 4 times as many people don't have dental insurance as don't have health insurance. And they're spending $45 billion a year without the benefit of any price transparency or any negotiating leverage. So you think about it, when do you find out how much something's going to cost you at the dentist?
When they hand you the bill.
When you're sitting in that chair.
And you have no choice.
And the guy's got the drill, and he's got the mask on.
And your tooth's going to fall out. It's the end of the world.
Not a good place to negotiate. So So what we've done is put together a network of 25,000 dentists nationwide who have pre-negotiated prices that are 25 to 60% below what an uninsured patient would pay.
And I see them here on the website. Let's take a look here. Comprehensive oral exam, instead of $97, members pay $37. X-rays, $25. Cavity filling, 74 crowns. I mean, that seems almost too good to be true. Is that the absolute price, or is that like...
No, that's the absolute price. And so those, you are guaranteed when you go into that dentist who's in our network that that's the price you will pay. And so there's two things going on there. Number one, you know before you go.
Right.
And the second thing is you have the benefit of a large group that is negotiating on your behalf.
So how did you get dentists to drop the price of a root canal, including restoration, from $2,300 to $1,000?
What we did is leverage...
Because I just had like 2 or 3 of those over the last couple of years, and I feel like an idiot.
Well, you think about it, young families, seniors, none of them have insurance. When you retire, you lose your employer's insurance, and you're on Medicare. Medicare has no coverage.
For dental.
So, for dental, right. Same thing with young families have a hard time. And so what we did is leverage what's called a cost containment network, which is an existing network of dentists that have agreed to these pre-negotiated prices. They're used typically by unions and associations and also by other insurance carriers who have health benefits but want to add dental.
So they basically have gone, this group has gone through the hard work of negotiating fair prices. Is it the same across the country?
No, it varies by market, by zip code. So if you go in there, put in our zip code, put in a...
Yeah, put in the
But this
zip
is
code.
for Santa Monica, which would not be cheap, I would think.
No, you'll see actually. So put in, what did you just get done? An implant, a root canal?
What did you get, Tyler?
I've had a root canal done. I had a crown done.
The root canal was probably, what, $3,000?
Yeah, no, mine was like 3, yeah.
Okay, so let's go to a root canal.
Wow, look at this. Holy cow.
So those are dentists...
Because you have to go to an oral surgeon for a root canal. Was it why it was so expensive?
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is. Look at that. Wow.
So let me show you what I did here is I was going to a dentist in Beverly Hills, expensive dentist on Robertson, and when we started Brighter's and no dental insurance, got to use Brighter. So I found a dentist, Steve Aronson, who's right on Wilshire, a couple blocks away, had really good ratings and reviews, had really good pricing. Went in with my Brighter card, got my discount. It was just a completely different dental experience.
And as the customer pays to be part of this.
Yes, yes.
What do we pay then?
So you pay basically it's $79 for you and your family for a year.
What?
It's like Costco. You go to Costco, you pay $50 so you can go get that big screen TV.
You guys get that money.
We get that money.
Now, do you get a piece of the money for the procedures?
No, not currently. The dentists provide the discount. That's their price of entry. So if you think about lead businesses, right?
Right. Lead gen
businesses. This business it's not a lead business because the dentists are basically, their cost of entry is providing a great deal to the consumer, and then we collect a membership fee from the consumer. And a typical dentist practice has about 3,500 patient visits a year. They lose about a quarter of their practice every year, so they need to replace 750 to 1,000.
There's a big churn.
Big churn.
Why?
Moving. No one likes going to the dentist.
People give up.
People give up. They have a painful cleaning. They think it's a dentist's fault.
Part of the reason they give up is because of the cost and the fear of it and everything. I mean, everybody's been shocked with dental bills.
So the 4 things that keep people from going to the dentist, number 1 is don't think I can afford it. Number 2 is fear of cost. Don't know if I can afford it. Just don't know what it costs.
Because there's no transparency.
No transparency. Number 3 is fear of the dentists themselves.
Right.
And 4 is not knowing a good dentist. So we're attacking the first 2 and the last one. The cost element, making it affordable, and finding you a good dentist reputation. Fear, hopefully if we find you a good dentist who patients love, you'll get over that as well.
And so your business is just trying to get 1 million people to sign up for this?
Yes, initially. And then over time, we can definitely add more services. We can help them schedule their appointments. We can get them additional discounts. So if you think about the discounts we currently offer as everyday low prices, you know, it's basically everyday low prices. Then certain dentists are willing to give even lower prices to get a new patient to join them. So you know, although a new patient visit might be $150 with us, with X-ray, cleaning, and exam, somebody might be willing to do it for $79 to get a new patient.
So you can even negotiate further.
Even lower than this, yeah.
You as Brighter.com.
We use Brighter, right.
Not the individual user.
Right.
And now does this take advantage of when they have, you know, less business? So do they say Monday and Tuesdays specials, 25% off these already low prices?
Eventually, that's how we want to get that additional layer of discount for our patients.
So is this a ZocDoc? How is it different than ZocDoc, right? That's been a tremendously successful business.
Right.
And in some ways, it feels ZocDoc-ish. And
Yeah.
I've seen comparisons. You guys are being put in the same sentence.
Well, ZocDocs basically helps you schedule an appointment. It makes, both for general docs and for dentists, it tells you this dentist or this doctor has an appointment available at X time. Sign up for it online. It's an open table. Okay? Doesn't help you with cost at
Right.
all.
That's, I think,
And there's
I
no
like that's more of
is there
an
transparency
open
there?
table
No, there's
for
Yeah, and
medical.
this
still feels almost like AAA for
Yeah, that's
For
They have a
Costco,
good-
I mean, Costco is a
Yeah.
pretty good one too. Like Costco, you pay them a fee,
Yeah.
and then they fight on your behalf to get you the best
Making
prices.
an appointment is not the number one problem people have. You know, it's down the list of problems they have.
I gotta say,
Affordability.
I just changed. We had the same dentist. My wife made me stop going to the dentist that we had because I was spending $6,000 or $7,000 a year out of my pocket, and so now I'm doing somebody a network.
Amazing.
She is the best.
The best, but not cheap.
you know what?
Yeah.
My wife found one just as good.
Yeah.
And in our network, I guess, or whatever, and it's now, you don't realize how much you're spending on dental. Like, I looked at my bills over the last, 5 years. I'm spending $6,000 or $7,000 a year.
Even with insurance, you're still picking up 50% of the out-of-pocket.
Yeah.
And so if it's an expensive dentist, that's going to be a lot of money.
Yeah, Santa Monica dentist with all the latest equipment. I mean, it gets very expensive. So now, I'm taking it, some dentists love you, some dentists hate you for what you're doing.
So far, we haven't felt a lot of hate because mainly this is something that's existed before. These cost containment networks that unions use.
But have
people
they
like
been
that.
out? I've never seen prices out like this. So you did create something that I think certain dentists are going to be really pissed off about.
Right.
How do you answer a dentist who says, like, this is not good for the industry, you shouldn't join Brighter? Are dentists basically creating their own demise by joining Brighter, or are they helping themselves? Because it seems like, wow, they just took out, if they're losing half the amount they're charging, can they make up for it in volume?
Well, the way we look at it is that this brings them patients who otherwise couldn't go because they can't afford it.
So for a dentist who's not 100% booked up, this is awesome.
Right. So you've got dentists out there in Beverly Hills who are mainly cash dentists who can charge whatever they want. They're not going to be part of something like this, and nor are their customers likely to be our customers. But
really, you think, in these days of austerity measures? I mean, rich people are, all cutting back.
Yeah, and some people love to save money, no matter what. So there'll definitely be some of that.
I mean, you're a very rich guy. You've had like 5 companies, most of them gone public. You could hire a dentist to work for your family full time.
No.
Yes,
not
you
with
are.
my wife.
Jake Winebaum is that rich.
No,
he's got 9 figures. Okay.
No, my wife would make me use this service.
But your wife would say, you're still that cheap, even with 9 figures of personal wealth.
That's absolutely not. That is not the case. But my wife would definitely make me use this regardless. But the point is that.
But you're proving my point, which is rich people also can be cheap and love value.
Right.
And they're going to love this service. Like I listen. I'm not a poor guy. I want to save money.
Absolutely.
It's more money I can spend on something
else. You might find your
else.
own dentist. The dentist your wife recommended might actually be on here, and so. To go there and not pay this amount would be stupid.
Wait. Now, what happens if I've been going to the dentist and they've been charging me higher, and then I find them on here?
So for all your future procedures can be at a much better price.
Right. But that would make me I would be super pissed off if I found my dentist. Can you imagine if you found the dentist that we were sharing on there for half the price you were paying? Would you ask for a refund, Tyler?
60%.
Would you ask for a refund?
I wouldn't.
So that's the thing is I think what you're doing is you're taking the difficult negotiating discussion out of people who are uncomfortable doing it.
No one's going to negotiate with their dentist. Very few people are willing to do that.
It's like negotiating with your nanny or like negotiating with somebody who you don't want to be pissed at you.
Right. Now, the other thing to remember is these prices are fairly close to what they get reimbursed by the insurance company for anyway. So, and dentist practices are pretty profitable. Yeah.
So is there just like this massive price inflation in dental, and it's sort of like the airlines, right? Half the people are paying one price and half got their deals better. I mean, everybody on the flight plays something different.
Who are almost the majority of the population have absolutely no ability to negotiate. They have no negotiating leverage. The insurance companies do for their patients. They negotiate down the rates.
Such an obvious business. Why does it not exist already? or does it? Does it exist in the form?
No, discount dental plans have been around since the early 90s.
I guess there are like 1-800-dentists, but those are all lead gen,
That's
correct?
lead gen, right.
So they basically are incentive. The people who are using 1-800-dentist, they're getting sold for $10 or $25. I don't know. What do they sell those leads for?
They're pretty expensive, yeah.
$50, $100?
Yeah.
And so that means the dentist has to make that money back, as opposed to in your situation where you're creating demand for them.
Right. And the other thing to remember versus an insured patient, this patient's going to pay at the time of visit. There's no disputing a claim 30, 40 days later. There's no collecting from both the patient later and the insurance company. So these are very, from a cash flow point of view, these are good patients.
Why don't you let people, or are you planning to, let people order what they want online? Can I just order 10 cleanings for my family and pay in advance?
We started actually with the transactional model.
Buy the stuff.
Where you actually had a new patient visit priced at a set price. But what we found is people aren't ready to buy medical procedures online yet.
Okay, question from the Chill chat room. If you guys don't know, Chill.com is a really cool startup, and they are doing this like sort of cool chat room, which a couple dozen people are in right now. I pull it up on my screen, guys. There it is. And it's kind of funny. Look at oh wait, where's the sponsors logos, guys? I thought we were going to put sponsors logos. Oh, they are yours?
Yeah.
Oh, I just went through the front door. Anyway, question, how did Jake validate the market and research this? What was his due diligence? I mean, you obviously are a pretty successful entrepreneur. How do you do due diligence for something like this?
Well, first is where the idea started from. The idea started from my father-in-law, basically at a dinner where inevitably your in-law dinners turn to a discussion of health in one way or another. Yeah. And he mentioned he had to pay $7,000 for 3 implants. And I'd always had dental insurance, so I had no idea what these things cost. So I started to do a bit of research. Then we found that that's a huge percentage of the population, 50% of the population, spending $45 billion a year was in the same camp as he was. So that said, okay, well, this is a really big. And then we did a bunch of research as to why people are not going to the dentist. We did a bunch of surveys.
How did you do that? Surveys?
Surveys, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Do you hire a company to do that, or you just create a survey monkey and then email your friends?
First we did Craigslist. We invited a bunch of people into our office.
So like a focus group?
Yeah, but like one-on-ones, and we asked them to do searches on how you find a dentist.
Oh, they call that a listening lab, right?
Right.
Like a listening lab.
So we had maybe 20 or 30 people we brought in, and then we just found a bunch of research out there. I mean, it's pretty amazing what you can find.
Yeah.
That sort of validated what we thought was going on.
But you started by saying, buy this package. Like a Groupon kind of a thing? Or?
Yeah, it was kind of a Groupon thing. It was buy a new patient, cleaning, exam, and x-ray for $79.
And did it work or didn't it work?
We found that people weren't willing to transact, but were very interested in the concept of a priced procedure, meaning knowing the price. So that got us
It didn't work, but the failure let you know, hey, there is something here, go that way.
Go that way. Then we had to figure out how do we do this so that we can do it nationally out of the box, because dentistry is inherently hyper-local. Right. You'll only go to a dentist within 2 to 3 miles of where you live.
It's got to be between your office and your house.
And ZocDoc has taken a really long time, city by city, growing it out.
Sure.
So we wanted to find a way to do it nationally. That's what brought us to the cost containment network that allowed us to do it nationwide out of the box.
Got it. And you've raised a bunch of money for this startup?
Yeah, we've raised money from Mayfield, a seed and Series A from Mayfield, and then we raised money from Benchmark, a Series B.
And you've worked with Benchmark before.
Yes.
Is Bill Gurley and those guys?
It's Bill Gurley. Bill Gurley did Business.com as an investor, also jammed out.
Got it. So is this, just like you iterated to this point, is there an iteration that's going to happen where you're just going to hire 1,000 dentists across the country and have Brighter.com storefronts?
I don't think so. No,
but you have thought about it.
Well, 97% of dentists are private practices. There's no corporate ownership. That's partly by state laws. It's also partly the nature of dentists. They want to be there. They're small business people, and they want to be independent. So we don't think there's a need to do that at all. People have tried that. There have been a lot of these, roll-ups of dental practices that have generally not worked particularly well. That's why they have such a small percentage of the industry.
So is your plan, make this work in dental then, and you can replicate this Costco membership transparency model to other verticals, maybe physical therapy, I don't know, what else?
Yeah, there are definitely other verticals that have high cash pay and highly fragmented markets that this model could apply to. Right. They typically don't have an existing network, so we would want to be able to prove that we can build our own network efficiently before you'd go after those.
Okay, when we come back from the break, we're going to do the chart of the week, new segment. Jake, you'll be involved in it. We're going to look at the chart of the week. It's the chart that is freaking Google the F out. That's the way it was explained to me. Hey, but before we do that, let me tell you about Hiscox. You've been sued, I'm sure, threatened to sue after all these companies you've started. It happens, right, as an entrepreneur? You get a couple of letters once in a while.
Yeah, occasionally.
And what you want to do is have insurance, right? I mean, Brighter.com, I'm assuming, has insurance.
We do.
You have personal insurance. There's director's insurance. There's all kinds of insurance you need as a founder of a startup company. And it's always scary, like, hey, what do I need, right? Transparency, et cetera, and buying what you need. Hiscox is reinventing small business insurance. You only pay for the coverage you need, and these guys are great. Tyler's using them now, and a bunch of the folks I'm angel investing in are starting to use them. They're doing a My Startup Story contest, and it's your chance to win $10,000 in funding and other prizes. Just write or make a video of your startup story and the biggest lesson you've learned. Okay, so just what is your biggest lesson? And my advice for you, if you do this thing and you want to win the 10 dimes, the high society, the 10,000 beans, is to be super humble. Don't do like a humble brag. Do a straight up like, my God, I was an idiot. We were so stupid. We failed. Everything was a disaster, and just build up what a disaster it was. But then do something like, but then we saw a spark of hope and we built off of that. Now that's always like that redemption story. People love that. I think you got a good chance of winning if you do that. So go to their Facebook page, facebook.com/HiscoxSmallBiz, and check out their awesome contest. These guys have been great supporters of the program, and it would be great if you guys could support them. They are big supporters of independent media, and you need to have insurance anyway, and it's super easy. You can just sign up right from the site. In many ways, very similar to Brighter.com. Okay. So let's just take a look at this chart of the week right now. We've got an expert here with Jake, and we've got a semi-expert with Tyler. We're going to interpret this chart of the week, I think. What's supposed to happen? Is like a new segment. Are we supposed to see the chart come up somewhere? Am I supposed to pull the chart up? Okay, the lower third is down. Very good. And let's see the chart of the week. Okay, let's make it full screen because I haven't seen this. And this chart is from... This is the AllThingsD had this. Facebook's overhaul.
Time spent online.
Time spent online.
But the big
U.S. share of time spent online. So we see here Facebook is gone from a cold start in 2007 of 2% to now 16% of people's time online. And I guess that green line is Google with the 7%.
The top
Yahoo, Microsoft, and AOL was a big portion of people's time online, obviously. The AOL one is just plummeted down. The top one is what? That's Yahoo. Yahoo is holding. I mean, the interesting thing about this is Yahoo has more than Google. And so you ask yourself, why is that?
They just crossed.
Oh, no, they just crossed. You're right. So Google is still growing. Google's the,
Microsoft's the flat one, really.
Microsoft's the flat one.
Remarkably
so Google,
flat.
So Google is on a slower trajectory than Facebook, but Facebook has eclipsed it. What do you take from that, Jake? Should Google be worried about this? I mean, they have many more times the revenue.
I'm actually surprised that they're still growing at a pretty consistent rate straight through. You know, they had a fast rate of growth, but it's been pretty consistent. The Microsoft one is so remarkably flat.
Well, I mean, if you're in the search business, the better you get people in and out of your service, the faster you make it, the lower the time spent online.
Yeah.
So for a search engine, what this tells me is that the search is not growing. What is growing is probably Gmail.
Yeah, I'd like to see it separated so you don't show YouTube separately from Google, because you might see a very different story.
Yeah, I bet you when you look at that, the YouTube acquisition, which came in, I don't know.
Yeah, probably right where that mark is.
Right where that big mark is in 09.
Q4, 08.
08, yeah. That's probably the YouTube acquisition, time spent online. And this is probably behind Facebook's whole announcements of like sharing media, trying to increase the amount of time. But in fairness, Facebook is a communication service, so they always have more time spent online, right? I mean, you keep your email open longer.
That's really the games as well.
The games too, yeah, you got to take that into account. Yeah, I'm not too worried about this because you know what? If you show monetization, this chart would flip radically.
Also be interesting to see is number of visits per month.
Yeah, unique visits per month. But obviously Facebook's in the lead on that.
On that too,
yeah. Well, they had 500 people log in a single day, and they've got 800 million members. We'll be first to a billion. What's your take on Facebook versus Google?
I think it's interesting. I mean, I think the new Google social
Google Plus
is pretty interesting. I mean, it's got some really great features to it.
Yeah.
But I think Facebook's just got so much inertia and momentum. I mean, it's just...
That is one of the things about the internet is that once you reach scale, it's hard to screw up. Mm-hmm. Like Yahoo's been trying for a decade to screw up. I mean, they have done everything they can do to destroy that company, yet they are still in the top 5 internet companies.
And if you compare how much people have invested in Yahoo versus how much people have invested in Facebook, people have invested a huge amount in Facebook in terms of their personal time, their photos, and that Facebook timeline thing that just came out.
Yeah.
You know, just making it so that, you know, your history is there.
Right.
I think it becomes hard to decide.
What do you? I mean, you're qualified to actually be like the CEO of Yahoo. You get offered that job ever?
Not recently.
Not recently, but they did probably fill you out at some point.
A while ago.
A while ago, and you didn't take it. Why didn't you take it?
I don't think it was actually offered to a point where I had a choice or not.
But would you take a gig like that? AOL, CEO? Would you like to be Tim Armstrong, Carol Bartz?
No.
Why not? You have your choice.
I like making my own mess, not cleaning up someone else's. That's why I like startups.
It's easier, isn't it, though? Like to have under 100 people versus over 1,000. Well, it's also, two different lives.
You're much more in control of your destiny. You know, it's your own to screw up, and as opposed to, you know, when I worked at Disney, I spent 95% of my time internally as opposed to externally focusing on customers. When you get in a really big organization, it's very hard to focus on the customers. It's much, you know, you spend most of your time internal, and that's not, to me, that's just not as satisfying.
Yeah, you like the sort of higher touch, bringing the people in for the focus group and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's the secret to your success? I mean, you've had a really incredible run, angel investing, board member, and running companies. Why do you think you've got such an amazing track record?
Two things. I've been extremely lucky. You mentioned the business.com thing. I mean, we literally sold that company the day Bear Stearns went down.
Right.
And, you know, the week that Google's SEO made their first big SEO algorithm change.
Right. Literally. And that was a completely 95% SEO-driven business, business.com.
Yeah, and literally that week we sold. So that's luck. But to get business.com...
But you guys knew, you saw the writing on the wall. The business wasn't growing. People weren't going direct. It was a search-driven business. And you knew at some point Google would take over the listings business and have local.
Mm-hmm. And it was
so that's not luck. You guys were prepared for it. How do you know when to cut bait on a business like that?
So John Rockefeller was asked by a journalist, you know, how'd you get so rich?
Yeah.
And he said, by always selling too soon. And so part of it is, you know, you really, like Groupon's in this right now, I think.
Don't get greedy?
Basically, you as an entrepreneur know what you got.
Right.
Okay? And if someone's offering you a good price for what you got, take it. Don't
get cute.
Sometimes people think have a misconception about what they've got and what it's worth.
Right.
But oftentimes people make the mistakes thinking that I can get something more later. The market's going to continue to improve, whatever. And it generally, if you've got a buyer and the price is a good one, you want to sell.
Yeah. Bang some wins.
Yeah.
And actually, you've got like all these like great like doubles and triples and a couple of home runs. Talk about Boingo Wireless. You were on the board of that, or
no? It was an e-company.
It was an e-company.
Yeah.
So
it was
you
one of our
started
incubated companies. Yeah.
I didn't realize that. So you and Sky did an incubator in '99.
'99, yeah. Which did Jamdat, it did Business.com, did Boingo.
Wow.
We were the lead investor in Lower My Bills.
And you actually did a cartoon startup.
We did. Icebox.
Icebox,
which
failed terribly.
Brilliant work, though.
But did great work.
Yes. We had a few companies that were well before their time.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. So this Zombie High School and Icebox, which was doing entertainment online, spent maybe $10,000 an episode, $20,000 an episode making online TV, which at the time, the Eisners of the world and other folks couldn't believe that you guys had gotten the cost down to that much.
And we had the top writers and producers in Hollywood.
Yeah, who were some of those? I mean, some of them were
a lot
very
of the guys
famous.
from the Fox Animation studios. All the folks from some of the early guys from Simpsons, and we had a really incredible stable of writers.
So you spend a couple of $1 million building online content pre-YouTube. It doesn't get a big enough audience. It doesn't get enough advertising. Was that the main problem? Costs were
spent money too quickly, and then mid-2000 came along, no more capital, not enough runway, too expensive a model to sustain. But a lot of those shows, National Lampoon bought a few. You can still see them if you have if you still have a Blockbuster around, which there aren't many of them, you'll still see some of those shows in Blockbuster.
And if you launched it today, would it have worked with the YouTube ecosystem there, iPads maybe selling it there?
I think it was the talent was willing to try something on the internet.
Right.
And the main point was do the work that the networks aren't going to buy because it's too out there.
Too racy.
The stuff you really want to do, we now have a distribution channel. That's what attracted the really great writers, and they had an ownership position in their shows.
Yeah.
And so that was unique then. Now it's not so much anymore.
Offering the talent a piece of the action when they really didn't have control
it was like
of
a
their
United
destiny.
Artists. It was that kind of model.
So very innovative, but external forces and the model not working would be why that failed in your estimation.
Yeah, I think partly it was too early. There was not enough distribution. Partly it ran out of capital.
So e-companies raised like $100 million to invest in companies. Was that the?
There were two elements. There was the incubator, and then there was a venture fund. And the incubator started companies like Icebox, Jamdat, eMemories, which was a photo sharing service, and many others. Yeah.
And Jamdat alone, that was such a huge exit. Did that return the entire fund and everything, or?
The Jamdat was a good exit. The public offering was good, and then EA bought it. Yeah.
So did the fund wind up or down or sideways?
Well, the fund, you got to understand, the fund was raised in July '99.
Wow.
Invested by the end of 2000.
So you invested at the highest,
absolutely
highest valuations.
Yeah, the
right
worst
before
time,
the cliff.
Right before the cliff.
Wow.
And so the fund was in its probably top decile of funds of that era, but was not, as a venture fund, was not
a great return.
A great return.
So how do you reconcile something like that? You have all these wins in your career, and then I don't know if you consider it you can't really consider it a train wreck because you had all these great companies come out of it, but it didn't go as well as you thought. How do you reconcile as an entrepreneur and not get super depressed? Were you super depressed after all this and the dot-com bubble? Did you take it personal?
There was a dark several years where we thought we'd end up with nothing. I mean, literally, it wasn't obvious that any of the companies were going to succeed in sort of 2001, 2002, 2003. So that was the second thing, luck and perseverance. Sky stuck with it with Boingo. I stuck with it with Business.com. Mitch Lasky with Jamdat. And saw those companies through to a successful exit. And so
what did that take? 6-7 years in each case?
Yeah, I mean, some were a little quicker. Jamdat was probably the fastest. Lower My Bills after that. Business.com after that. Boingo.
It's an amazing track record. But you invested at high valuations, I guess.
We did. There was two components. There was the incubator piece, and the other thing I concluded as an entrepreneur is there's a big difference between being an investor and being an entrepreneur.
What is that?
And what I determined, if you're an entrepreneur by your nature, you want to be really hands-on.
Right.
As an investor, that's not necessarily what's the right thing for an entrepreneur. Like if you had investors that were super hands-on with you, you probably, at times you want their help. At times,
they wouldn't be investors.
Right.
In my company.
And so, for me, I like to be hands-on, and so that.
So you were a bad investor.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be a good investor, and I know that I'm not a good investor, and I don't make.
You meddle too much. You want to roll up your sleeves? You want to tell the CEO what to do?
If I see the train wreck coming, I'd like to grab the wheel and
right. But I mean, as an investor, you basically have to say, I'm going to let them hit maybe I'll let them hit the side of the road, and get back on track. You can't really.
Those mistakes are how teams learn.
Too frustrating to watch somebody make an obvious win for you.
Yeah.
Did you and Sky ever think about quitting everything and just was it like? God, this is too brutal.
Not our nature.
So what is it about a guy like Sky Dayton? I mean, that makes him so special. You think?
I think it's basically there's partly competitiveness. You guys play poker. It's like you want to win. You know, and winning is often doesn't go real easily. Sometimes you just got to keep at it. I mean, Business.com. There was times where I said there's not a chance that this thing's going to be a success. But you just keep at it, and you like you were talking about for that contest, those redemption moments when you sort of have that glimmer of hope, and then you figure it out, and then you start, it's like the plane that sort of just scrapes bottom and just rises up.
It's being on the precipice that it sort of makes life worth living.
Yeah.
Here's a question: any plans to expand overseas? Is this a problem in Europe? Is this a problem in South America, Asia? What does your research tell you?
The UK for sure. Right now,
a lot of people with bad teeth.
I didn't say that.
I think you just said that. You said it's a huge opportunity because people have terrible teeth.
No, but there's a dental.
No, but that is a
Asia as well.
No, they say that is a that's what London is England is what they say, right? English people have bad teeth.
Yes.
They don't go to the dentist. Okay, so you think that's a market wide?
Dental was covered by the government in the UK, but the government dentists now, the ones who accept the government plan, are so overwhelmed that it's turned to people are now using their own funds to buy, and there's a lot of price transparency in the UK. All the dentists publish their prices. So it's interesting.
Why is healthcare so screwed up?
But I'm not a big believer in going international until you've really figured your business out.
You got to have the model really solid here because it's huge distraction.
Huge distraction.
Here's a blocking and tackling question. Brighter.com, that's not a bad domain. I'm going to guess that cost $25,000. What did you pay for that?
Well, that's very close. That's a good guess. 30.
30.
Yes.
And any equity? Do you give them a little taste?
Nope.
Just straight up,
No,
here's 30
straight up.
dimes, and this person now has to watch you take this company public and make it worth $3 billion.
Well, let's just say they didn't know who it was. If I had shown up as Jake Winebaum buying the domain,
You had to go in covert.
You have to go in covert.
Absolutely.
Given my history with domains.
Absolutely. Business.com. You paid how much for that? 10 million or millions?
7.5 in
You paid
stock
7 in stock.
against a PowerPoint, which I valued at $100 million.
Okay, so you bought. Oh, so you gave 7.5% of the company for that, and then wound up selling. I think it sold for $200 million or something.
350.
350. So the person who
He made
sold it to
12.
you made $12 million.
Yeah. At the end of the day, and also.
Pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good. What other spaces does Jake think are ripe for disruption? Jake, what spaces, if you weren't doing Brighter, would you be inclined to look for an opportunity in?
The second way to possibly answer that is, what is it of all the things that you did that sort of led you to getting into Brighter?
Yeah. What are the things that you pass
You
on?
have a whole.
Right.
There could have done so many things.
Well, healthcare's broken. I mean, there's a system, and I was just at Health 2.0 yesterday. There's 1,500.
What is that? Is that a
big healthcare
Got it.
conference? 1,500 people at the conference, hundreds of companies presenting. Healthcare definitely needs some solutions. The problem is, as a whole, as an entrepreneur, very tough market. We picked dental because it's simpler.
Right.
General healthcare is really complicated and a tough entrepreneurial market. So, although I think that's a huge market and huge opportunity for disruption because it's desperately needed,
Hard to
I think
disrupt.
it's tough as an entrepreneur to
It's more
disrupt it.
bureaucratic because in the dentist you can go right to the decision maker very quick.
Exactly. That's why we picked that one.
Yeah, you've sort of routed around everything. It's only if you have 25,000 dentists in here, and there are how many in the country?
There's we have 80,000 practices, so there are 80,000 locations. There's 156,000 dentists, practicing dentists.
So you have half of them?
No,
Or
we
more?
have 25,000 to 156,000.
Okay.
They call them belly buttons, so actual dentists.
So one of 6.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Which gives good coverage. I mean, if you're in a major metro, you're going to see, like in Santa Monica, you saw there's 50, 60 dentists right around here.
There's plenty. How do you deal with reviews and stuff like that? Like somebody hates this dentist that you recommended. Can they post on Brighter.com?
They
This guy
can.
sucks?
They absolutely can.
And when the dentist calls you and says, "What the?"
Well, we'll
frack?
take. I mean, if we get complaints about a particular dentist, we will not show them in our display in our results.
You'll neuter them. Take them out.
We will not show them in our.
Call that neutering in the business. Is when you, but they still will be in your database. Do they know they have been removed? Or you tell them?
We have a one-on-one relationship with these dentists. So when we know when a patient's scheduling an appointment, and we will contact that dentist. We will contact the patient, make sure everything went well.
Hey, let's play this game, Name the Fake Startup. This is another new segment. This is where they're going to tell us 3 startups, Jake, and you're going to tell us which one is the fake startup.
Okay.
And you too, Tyler.
Yeah, I think I'm.
Can I use
this will be
Google?
fun.
You're ruining. And what great questions from everybody in the chat room, and people are really liking it. Here's one that people say. I would love transparency. This is Mike asks, or he just states he would love transparency on home and auto-related maintenance costs.
Home services is a good one.
Like Angie's List.
Yeah, home services is a great category, big category.
I wonder
This could work well for auto for sure. My dad owned a.
Oh
auto
God,
repair
would that
thing.
be? I mean, that's sort of the promise of some of these national chains is that they put their costs on the thing, but you still don't know if Because they always have these great investigative reports where they'll send in a car that does not have transmission problems, where they'll just pull out one plug, put cameras in it, and then send people and they're like, I think something's wrong with my alternator, but they just unplugged it. And then they're like, yeah, your alternator's screwed. It's gonna be $1,000, and it's a brand new alternator that's been day glowed. And then they show the video of them doing nothing but plugging it back in and charging $1,000. And then they're like, can I see the dead alternator? And then they go in the back and they take another alternator that they have in the shop. Say, yeah, here it is, the dead one. Can I keep my dead one? Okay, sure, keep it.
That should show up in you should be able to pick that up in a reputation.
I love that investigative journalism stuff. If only there was a model for journalism where investigative journalism
Why not do that?
Could still exist.
That is a user-generated investigative journalism.
I love, if I was going to retire, I would totally, it's interesting. I was talking to the Frontline people, and I was like, what's the story with, I love Frontline, all those docs, and I was thinking about buying Frontline. Because I think they've sort of meandered. It's like, I wonder if you can take a nonprofit, it's like sort of like this little group that then I guess PBS buys it from them or something is how it works. And I was like, is that for sale? And they're like, well, it's sort of a nonprofit. I was like, can you convert a nonprofit into a for-profit? Because I think I could call Mark Cube and maybe we can make this into a for-profit thing and sell DVDs.
Do a whole cable network.
And do a whole cable network of just investigative journalism. I wonder if people would pay for it. You've thought of this idea too?
Sign me up.
I think you'd get a lot of inbound traffic.
It would. Yeah, people love that invest. Okay, so Kirin, let's see how this game goes. We're trying some more segments. We tried the chart. I thought the chart was a pretty interesting segment. Now we're going to do Guess the Fake Startup. Kirin Callia is here, the managing editor of
Launch. All right. Okay. So you guys know there's 3 startups.
That's
only one of them is not real.
One is fake.
One is fake. So you guys have to pick.
Real.
You guys have to pick the fake one.
Pick the fake. Spot the fake. Okay.
And you didn't cheat, right? You didn't look any of these up yet?
I don't know. I don't even know what they are.
All right.
Oh, I see. Here they are. Okay.
All right. So don't look now. So I'll read the description of each.
Okay.
And then you guys can make your picks, and I'll let you know who's right.
Okay.
So the first one is bloggerdice.com. Bloggerdice is a community of bloggers with various interests who have joined together to promote artists, restaurants, websites, and musicians through giveaways, exclusive offers, and reviews.
Spelling, please.
Bloggerdice, BLOGGERDISE.com.
Blogger dies.
Bloggerdice, like paradise.
Ah, yes, bloggerdice.com.
Right.
Wow, that is a terrible name. Okay, keep going. Now, and you said this is a community where bloggers blog about stuff, and then there's somehow deals related.
Right. They can.
got it.
Right. Bloggers benefit from being able to offer unique content on their site, which in turn equals more readers.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
So then the second one is hotdog.com. Hot as in like hot couture.
Got it. Hot. Is it hot or hot? How do you pronounce that?
I think it's oat without
oat.
Yeah.
Oat dog.
Okay. Hot dog. Hot dog lets pet lovers show off their stylishly outfitted pooches in their life. Yes, I can imagine you dressing up the bulldogs.
Yes, chorizo fondue.
Take pics of your pup, then upload them to Hot Dog for other pet owners to view, rate, and comment on. Swap canine couture tips, swoon over adorable doggies, and see how fashionable your friends think Fido really is.
Certainly a well-written description.
Very good description. Keep going.
Then number 3 is labels.io. Labels.io is revolutionizing the recruitment industry by bringing the right jobs right to your inbox. The sophisticated Labels.io algorithm determines your professional clout by searching popular social sites like Facebook and Twitter, then matching you with employers who are looking for your exact skills.
Okay, read that one more time. Labels.io.
Labels.io is revolutionizing the recruitment industry by bringing the right jobs right to your inbox. The sophisticated Labels.io algorithm determines your professional clout by searching popular social sites like Facebook and Twitter, then matching you with employers who are looking for your exact skills.
Okay, I know which one's fake. Jake, I figured it out.
I'm betting on Oat Dog just because it's too well written.
Too well written is your thesis.
It's a great concept. Someone should do it.
Right.
But I don't think it exists.
Right. So you're saying it was too well written, too well packaged?
Yes, because the other two are so badly,
so badly incomprehensible.
Yes, that they must be real.
They must be real.
That's
the logic I was going. I looked at it and I said, Blogger Dice is exactly the name that a blogger would name a company.
Right.
It is a terrible name. It's an incomprehensible concept. It must be real. And if a blogger is going to, bloggers are terrible at coming up with business ideas, and they're going to talk themselves into it. Now, Labels.io, this seems to be has a terrible name that a young entrepreneur would actually then create, and the idea of matching and jobs, like a lot of entrepreneurs like to do a spin on this, and I don't know that my friends are going to go do that. Now, hot dog, very well written, but you know what? The hot dog is such a great big vertical that it could be real, and then maybe I'm thinking Blogger Dice is so bad that maybe it's fake. And Labels.io I know is real because that sounds like some wonky developer would absolutely go after it. So I absolutely can know that. Now you could say Blogger Dice is so bad it's true, and hot dog is so good it's false, or there's a chance that hot dog is so good that it's real, and Blogger Dice is so bad that it's false. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
I think Labels is fake.
So we got Labels.
Yes.
And you're saying hot dog is fake. I'm going to... My gut tells me hot dog is fake. However, knowing that I like dogs would be a reason to include it if it was...
I'm thinking at this on a different level.
I'm going to go...
No, hold on. So, she didn't know how to pronounce oat dog.
Right.
I think she's the one who's making the fake one up. If that was the fake one, she would.
Well, I think that they made the fake one as a group. I don't know that. Did you make the fake one, or did
they would have looked up
the group make the fake one?
If they came up with
was it group effort, or just Kirin?
Carolyn and I discussed some possibilities.
Do you dress your dogs up?
I don't. I have, yes.
Because that would be
all right. Just for the sake of, since you think Labels is fake, you think hot dog is fake. I'm gonna go Blogger Dice is fake. I'm gonna just take it.
Oh wow,
because
guys...
I'm 60.
Good job on you that you got.
I'm 60-40.
Yeah.
That hot is the fake one. I know Labels is real. Tyler's absolutely wrong. I'm pretty sure hot is the fake one, but I'm gonna go Blogger Dice is fake. Okay.
Okay. So, just for the record, Carolyn wrote all these descriptions.
Carolyn wrote all these.
Okay, and the fake one is hot dog.
Of course it is. I knew it. I
Jake
knew
is
it.
right.
All right. Very good. And
what's the prize?
There was passion in that description.
it was
Yeah.
too well done. I mean, this is the problem. If you write something, what we've learned here from this exercise, everybody who's watching, is that entrepreneurs are doing the worst possible job of describing their company. This is why, as an entrepreneur, you hire a marketing person or somebody outside your company to write your corporate bios and that kind of stuff in an interview, right? I mean, you have no objectivity. I mean, if I asked you to describe Brighter, you'd be like, well, we have a consortium of blah, blah. It's like, get cheaper prices on dental services. Select your dental services from a menu that's disclosed. Get 50% off discount services. Get 50% off your dental bills. I mean, that's the description. But you would be like, oh.
No, we're aggregating
demand
and supply.
All right, well, this was a very interesting game. Jake, let me ask you this. You don't need to work anymore. You're still getting up every day doing it, right? Working really hard. What keeps you going? Why are you still doing it?
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoy starting something from nothing and seeing it grow. I mean, it's an incredibly rewarding experience for me. Succeed or fail. I mean, it's the invention. It's getting a great team together, seeing how that team works, solving problems that at times seem intractable that you're never going to be able to solve. Yeah, it's just fun.
How do you keep a team going when everything is going wrong?
Partly it's being consistent. You know, it's being basically it's having them believe that if it's hopeless, you're going to tell them, and
they have to trust you.
They trust you that
you're honest.
That if this thing is not going to go, I'm going to let you know. But and so it's partly it's trust. It's working with for me. It's working with people I've worked with before who've been through some wars with me.
Deep relationships with the people who work for you.
Right. And I told the guys at business.com, when it looked really hopeless and the capital structure was all messed up, I said, stick with it. We're making good progress. I know your stock's not worth anything now, but it will be.
Right.
And that earned me, a lot of loyalty
and they believed
from people. They kind of believed me. There wasn't a great job situation at that time, so maybe they didn't have other choices.
Did you believe yourself? I mean, were you absolutely certain that the stock was going to be worth something, or were you just, I'm relatively certain and I can...
I was pretty confident that we were in a space that was very valuable and that we were making good progress on capturing some of that value, and that if we kept doing what we were doing, you've worked at companies, once you get everything instrumented and you start making those little incremental gains and you know that you can keep making those for several months, if not years to come, that's when you kind of know it's going to be okay.
The trajectory is
it's just before you get to that. Where
you have to find a market.
Right.
Define a product, something to that effect, right?
Get people to buy.
Get people to give you money.
Yes.
I mean, that is
one
the core
form or
of it.
another.
And is that the philosophy you go about this now as a more seasoned entrepreneur? You're not interested in building the eyeballs and aggregating a bunch of people. You actually just want to get money from consumers and have a real business, quote unquote?
Well, I want to solve a real problem, a big problem, and I want to do it in a way that basically makes sense as a business. So I go into every business, not necessarily at the onset charging for this or that, but knowing exactly how I think I'm going to make money over time, as opposed to I'm going to build a big audience, then I'm going to figure out how to monetize it later, because that wouldn't be comforting for me.
2 weeks in a row, we've had entrepreneurs who have a couple of decades under their belt. To ask you the same question, I asked who was on last week from Nimble.com, John.
Yeah.
A lot of talk about older entrepreneurs not being able to compete versus the younger guys. How do you stay competitive with 23-year-olds working 90 hours a week and who are web natives? You know, they grew up only knowing this. Do you have an advantage over them? You have a disadvantage? And how do you manage those people? I mean, I'm assuming when you started, it was easy to manage people who were within 10 years of your age, but now you might have people who are 20 years younger than you working for you, 30 years younger working for you.
I think in areas like social networks, right, where kids understand that so much better than we ever will, just because they've literally grown up with it. I think they're an entrepreneur with my experience. My experience doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
You know, but I think in areas where you have fundamental business problems, and that the web and technology, mobile, social, is a new way to solve that problem. I think the experience of having started companies, run companies, tackled problems, implementing the metrics, those sort of things I think do help. So I wouldn't go after, you know, something that basically required me to be just intuitively.
Right. So you pick the right battlefield.
Right.
Somewhere where you
Dentistry.
have an advantage.
There's nothing.
Yeah, young folks are
nothing
not going to
sexy
go
about
into
dentistry.
like,
No
I'm
one's
going to
going
try
into
to
that.
build
Yeah.
relationships with 25,000 dentists. And,
Yeah.
I mean,
So it does. I think it does limit the types of opportunities you might go after over time.
And hardest lesson you've learned in business? I mean, what was the biggest flop, most brutal to your soul moment of your career?
Oh, I think, you know, when we started e-companies, you know, we got caught up in the sky's the limit, everything's going to the moon, and we lost track initially of what it means to actually start a business and what a business really means. And so we got into the mode of, we were literally a factory where we could put out a new company every month to month and a half, and that became what we focused on. Luckily for us, the capital ran out, because that got us to refocus on what makes a business successful. You know, having a great product, understanding what the customer's needs are, delivering on those needs, and wasting not a penny. So all these companies went through, you know, this period of, hey, the sky's the limit, to this, and so that period was really brutal. Is that sort of reset? Okay, let's get back to business.
Got a little high on your own supply there. Got a little bit, hey, I got the Midas touch, I could just churn these things out.
Everyone had the Midas touch.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah.
And then the tide goes out, and boy, it's brutal.
And I think that perseverance is what got us through, and it's what allowed us, these companies, to actually survive and
a combination of fear of failure and pride and desire to win, some amalgamation of those emotions.
All mixed together, different amounts on different days.
How much of the average entrepreneur you think is motivated by winning versus the fear of failure? I mean, people would say, oh, I'm not scared of failing, but I mean, it is a driver of success.
I think absolutely. I think they go hand in hand. I think fear of failure can be paralyzing, so you don't take risks.
Right.
And you can't win if the only thing you are is afraid.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not being afraid of failure or not wanting to fail is the opposite side of wanting to win. You know, it's
interesting. This has been an amazing episode. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thanks,
finally,
Jason.
Jake, I could talk to you for hours. Everybody go check out Brighter.com, and if you are a great developer or business development person or MBA, I'm guessing Jake has a couple of slots open.
like to talk to smart people, yes.
Yeah, so if you're brilliant, you can just email Jake at Brighter.com. I'm going to guess that's his email. I don't know if it is or not.
Works.
It works. There you go. We have a lot of brilliant people watching the program looking for their next thing. And you're based here in Los Angeles?
Yeah, in Santa Monica.
In Santa Monica, of all places.
Just down the street.
Great place to run a company.
It is.
Everybody wants to live here.
5th and Santa Monica.
Yeah, 5th and Santa Monica.
Wow, you're going for that $4 a square foot office space. Huh?
No, we got it.
You got it cheap?
Yeah.
I'm moving to
Matt negotiated the lease.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's good at that. I'm moving to Culver City. I need
you
more
are?
space. It's hard to find space here.
Yeah, it is.
It's getting so expensive.
It's so tight. Yeah.
I can't wait to see the new studios. Hey, next up is This Week in Web Design with Jose, and we're going to leave the mics up so you don't have to leave the chat room. He's going to do a lot of awesome stuff about. He's going to be there with his fellow designer. And they're going to work on designs live on the air. So that's why we have these laptops, and you can pull them up and all that kind of stuff with the TriCaster technology. So you can, if you want to learn about web design, stick around. The mics will be up. Thank you to Hiscox, great insurance company, small business insurance. And go join their contest at facebook.com/HiscoxSmallBiz. You might win 10 grand. And GoToMeeting. What a great, stable piece of software that I've been using for years. And their HD Faces software is gorgeous, and it works. And we actually use it for the program. We have guest dial in. It's just delightful and much better than a lot of the free options that are out there where you get what you pay for. And you want to have professionalism when you're doing these meetings. So, hey, and if you sign up for GoToMeeting, forward your sign-up form to contest@thisweekend.com to win Tyler's 13-inch MacBook Air and a Logitech HD camera. We'll see you all next time on This Week in Startups. Ooh, that's it. Painless, right? Great having you on.
Oh, that's fun.
I think the segments keep the show moving a little bit. I kind of like them. What did you guys think of? Hey, I lost the chat room up here, but keep the chat room open. Hey, guys in the chat room, what did you guys think of the two new segments, the chart of the week and name the fake startups? Were those valuable? What did you think of the guest? Rate the show, all that kind of stuff, and of course, stick around for This Week in Web Design. Very entertaining. Thank you. Gurgle King. Nice episode, guys. You can rate the episode on a scale of 1 to 10. Chart created very good conversation. The chart was really helpful. I loved them. That was awesome. Awesome show. The fake company was fun. 9.5. 11. Wow, people liked it. Fake startup was awesome. Chill.com was awesome. People like being in the chill.room for some reason. 9. Jake is awesome. It feels like people like it more, yeah. Nice way to break up the segment, yeah. Jake was terrific, thank you. Well, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, you could tell from that just that somebody had written that very well.
Yeah, he's a fan. Yeah. So now you guys, now they're gonna, next week it's gonna be...
Yeah. Well, have you seen cuteness.com?
No.
It's this kid. Oh, it's the great. It's a social network for dogs.
It is a social network.
Yeah.
You knew there had to be one.
It's really good. It's this kid, this local kid. What's his name? He was at This Next. What's his name?
I was on the board of This Next.
Cotton Blend. He was running the agency Cotton Blend but anyways, he